Once again, protests against police violence and systemic racism in the United States filled towns and cities across the country. But Friday's demonstrations had added poignancy. It was June 19th, celebrated as Juneteenth, a day commemorating the end of slavery in the U.S.
I always fantasize on Juneteenth being looked at like July 4th, Independence Day, for the people it means independence for. And it seems like it has actually come to pass this year.
Since the protests began following the police killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, federal and local politicians have pledged to reform the police. New York State, for example, has criminalized chokeholds. But activists point out that New York City had already outlawed the strangling of suspects by police in 1993. Yet according to filed police complaints, the practice is still widespread. That's why the call at these demonstrations isn't for reform, but reimagining the entire system of law and order, beginning with defunding the police, redirecting money from militarized force to a system that prioritizes de-escalation and healing social problems. That police in Atlanta, where there are also demonstrations, have reacted in fury to the arrest of a police officer who shot a black man in the back and then declared, "I got him," is another sign for some that the time for mere reform has passed. In Washington, D.C., protesters took a knee at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial and then marched to the Lincoln Memorial. The significance of this particular protest on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial on Juneteenth, but at a time of unprecedented nationwide protest about systemic racism, was so important to the organizers.
I have a dream.
This is where Dr. King gave his 1963 speech about his dream of economic and racial justice and the false promises of Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation.
This location was very deliberate and it's very symbolic. We wanted this to be more than just another protest in the streets. We wanted our collective voices to be loud enough that they hear us and that they understand that we will not stop doing this until you answer our calls for change. Here, a man said, "I have a dream," and this generation will see that dream through.
And 57 years after Dr. King spoke here, a multiracial coalition for racial justice appears to be holding. Shia Britansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.